Aaron Nelson,
Here.
Commissioner Cronwell, Commissioner Atwood, here. Commissioner Cohn,
Here.
Commissioner Bailey,
Here.
Commissioner Seligman,
Here.
and Mayor Kennedy.
Here. All right. We have the minutes sent out from our December 7th meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Seligman, seconded by Commissioner Cohn. Any discussion? Any corrections? All those in favor of approving the minutes for our last meeting, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? The minutes have been adopted. We have two items of new business tonight. First is a public hearing. This is on a petition to rezone 1616 West Bender Road. This is currently, or has been, an institutional district, a nursing home site. And the petition before us is to rezone it to a PD planned unit development for multifamily residential. We did have at our last meeting an extensive presentation that was done. We asked a lot of questions. I'm going to ask, is there any new information, or does the developer want to present anything in addition to what was done at our last meeting?
You're on mute.
You're on mute, Mr. Dworkin.
Thank you for the reminder. Thank you. We do not have any new information to provide. We are just here to answer questions.
All right, thank you. Ms. Safstrom and Mr. Stubbe, this was publicly noticed properly, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Then any members of the commission have any additional questions before I open a public hearing? All right. Now I'm going to open the public hearing. This is for the purposes of hearing from the public on 1616 West Bender Road, currently an institutional district nursing home to be rezoned as a PD planned unit development district multifamily residential. Is there anyone in the council chambers first that wishes to be recognized? I'm going to ask Ms. Safstrom if there's anyone wishing to be recognized, if you could let me know.
We do have a member of the public raising his hand. If you would like to come to the table in the center and please speak into the microphone.
Good evening. If you could please state your name and your address, please.
And you can pull it closer. Okay. You can pull the microphone closer.
My name is Jim Paleman, James Paleman. I live at 6195 North Bridgewood Lane. So I will be the closest single family residence to the proposal there. I've lived at that address for approximately 38 years. So my mortgage is paid. So I'm probably going to stay there until they bury me. What I'm concerned about is we did this same type thing for 1633 West Bender. And I'm just wondering if we're hoping to do the same thing and hope for a better outcome this time. Because what happened with 1633 has definitely left everybody living on Bridgewood Lane with a sour taste in their mouth. I can go over some of the stuff that we were promised in council meeting and that's the stuff like that. We were promised that when they tore down the landscaping, the trees that separated between 1633 and the Bridgewood Lane residents, we were promised that they would landscape that area. If you were to stand on Bender Road and look at the fence from Bender Road all the way down to where it butts up to Mr. David Hobbs Honda's lot, you will see 3 trees. Those were 3 trees that they left. They tore everything else out of there. They promised us that there was going to be underground water retention for stormwater. What happened was they found out it was going to be too expensive. So they put in a water retention pond close to Bender Road, which is right in my backyard, which makes going out in the summertime after 6 o'clock, it's the mosquito nursery. Come on, people, you know, we need better oversight on these people that are willing to come and do development. I'm not saying I realize that there isn't a big call for this building, but we have to be better oversight on what they're doing. They can't just willy-nilly go changing things after they've promised it to people and then not own up to it. They initially promised us that the garbage dumpsters were going to be on the David Hobbs Green Bay Avenue side behind Speedway Super America. When it came time, push came to shove, they wanted to put them on the other side. It was only because trash garbage service told them they couldn't come down there with their trucks to get it, that they finally agreed to put the trash bins back over by Speedway. And they put in noisy fans, radon mitigation fans, and instead of putting them on the industrial side of the buildings, they put them on the residential side. So everybody on Bridgewood Lane gets to listen to, and we've had it checked, it is 2 decibels below the maximum allowable. They didn't want to spend any money to get decent fans. Now they've turned the fans off for the winter time, and they've been off. So now we have a quiet neighborhood again. But I see the same problem happening again if we allow this development to go through. I purposely did not go over there, as I have done since 1633 came into existence, and tell them to shovel their Bender Road sidewalk. They at least every year since they have moved in, I've had to go and tell them 3 or 4 times to shovel their sidewalk. If you were to go right this minute and try to walk from Port Washington Road to Green Bay Avenue on the sidewalk, you will find 1 property that the sidewalk has not been addressed on. Last year, I was over there 3 times during the winter time telling them, please shovel it. They don't care. They promised that they were going to have on-site maintenance. They don't have any on-site maintenance. It's if somebody goes and complains, then they take care of it. The other thing that I wrote on here, this is one from my neighbors. During the summertime, we are serenaded with the 10 o'clock boom boxes and loud booming basses from the cars in the parking lot over at 1633. Now, if you allow the same thing to happen across the street, which I admit is further away from my property and my neighbors, maybe this won't be a problem. Maybe it'll be for the people that live in the retirement community. But I'm asking you, please make them accountable. If they're going to put any mechanicals in, put it on the railroad track side so that they can listen to their own noise. All we're doing is right now, I saw the picture in the paper of what they want to do. We are putting lipstick on a pig as far as I'm concerned. All we did is put some new roof lines on the thing. The footprint of the building stays exactly the same. I know what the building looks like in the inside. My sister in the 1960s was a candy striper there. I've been in the building. I delivered mail to that building. We got to do better than that. And finally, this is a personal thing. 1616, when it was Colonial Manor or Decorum Center, consistently their east exit, when they plow the snow out of their parking lot and down, as they come out the east exit, they immediately come and they push the snow over to the south side of Bender Road. The south side of Bender Road has the sidewalk. Guess who has to clean that sidewalk after they have plowed their snow across the road onto the sidewalk or over to the part where the plows come through again and the plows put it right on the sidewalk for a 71-year-old man to go out there and shovel it? Come on, guys. We got to put stuff in there and stop them. These people may be, Mr. Devo, the developer, may be an honorable man, but the waters have already been muddied by the previous developer, and we got to hold people accountable before they create a problem. That's all I got to say on it.
Thank you, Mr. Paleman. I will address his concerns in a moment. I want to know if there's anybody else wishing to speak in the public hearing. Is there anyone else in the council chambers wishing to speak?
No.
Okay, is there anyone on the Zoom wishing to speak? All right, I'm going to ask for a motion to close the public hearing, please.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Cohen. Is there a second?
Second,
Who was the second?
Nelson.
Thank you, Commissioner Nelson seconded. All those in favor of closing the public hearing, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, the public hearing is closed. Mr. Paleman, to address a few of your concerns, one, we are dealing, first of all, with a completely different developer and a completely different type of development. The development that is adjacent to your home was one in which it was built on the site of a former landfill in which they could not do any digging. If you recall, they took the nursing home footprint that was there before and they scraped it at the surface, keeping the entire foundation in place, and they developed an apartment complex on top of the existing foundation, which is why they couldn't dig underground for the water retention. They had to deal with a surface retention pond. In terms of the clear cutting of the brush, those complaints have been lodged with the city. The city has worked with the developer to get quite a few plantings in, and we expect that they're going to continue to do more landscaping. But in terms of this development across the street, this is mostly an interior renovation. They are keeping the existing building. They are not having to dig. They're not clear cutting any brush. As a matter of fact, the privacy that the brush provides essentially keeps the it provides privacy for the residents of the new building. All the work is going to be done. It's an interior renovation for the most part. I know you said putting lipstick on a pig. The thing is, the exterior of the building is not an unsightly building. It needs some landscaping. It needs some freshening on the outside, but this is mostly interior work. The parking will be behind. So the parking will essentially be adjacent to the railroad tracks. So a lot of the concerns that you've raised, these are two completely different types of developments, completely different developers, and I don't believe that we're going to experience the kind of issues that arose with building a site next door to you as opposed to renovating the interior of a building across the street. But I did want to address your concerns because you have some very valid concerns, and the city and city leaders have had similar frustrations with the owners and developers of 1633. So I personally wanted to say that I feel your frustration. If I could tell you the number of times not only you but your neighbors have talked with me in the last few years about 1633 and the times I've had to forward complaints to city staff. As a matter of fact, just so you know, the city administrator has already sent a snow complaint email while you were talking, so where staff will already be addressing the snow complaint right now about the fact that the sidewalk's not cleared. So I just wanted to address your concern. I'll open it up now to members of the commission. Are there any members of the commission with any questions? So remember, kind of raise your hand if you're in the chamber so I can see you. Commissioner Atwood, I'll recognize you first.
Thank you. My best friend happens to live next door to Jim. I know Jim. So I resonate with what he's saying too. But for this new property, I know last month we spoke about, Greg, we spoke about the tree lines and the buckthorn. There's going to be like a barrier between the park and there, and you had expressed maybe wanting to clear that out to give the residents a better view. But then to Jim's point, maybe that's like the biggest thing in my mind that would like change. So what was decided, or what did we come to on that point specifically? And then second question, to kind of follow up with one of the concerns of Bridgewood Lane residents, are there any noise increases that would be near any homes, to Jim's point? Thank you.
Can I respond, Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Dworkin, go ahead.
Thank you. To your first point, landscaping, we intend to leave the barrier intact, but as we discussed a little bit, intend to remove buckthorn, any overgrown brush, and any dead brush. So clean it up, but we're happy to leave it. We mentioned a view, and if the input is just to leave the barrier, it's not a problem.
Mr. Atwood, do you have any follow-up, or did he address your question?
I mean, sometimes I feel like I'm just the alternate, but like, I I hate buckthorn too. I'll be honest. I cleared out a whole bunch of buckthorn out of my yard a couple of years ago. I just know it really opens up the space, and I just don't want to necessarily drastically change the space. So if there's a third alternative, perhaps that can be arranged. I don't know if other people have suggestions or input as well. That's kind of all my thoughts on the matter.
Thank you. Commissioner Cohn, you're next.
According to the pictures that we have in our agenda package, I don't see the recommended gate or fenced-in area for the garages. What was decided on that?
Mr. Dvorkin?
Is the question, what are the materials?
No, the question is, when we talked last time, we talked and suggested gated area around the garages with entrance and exit. And you said you'd probably take that under advisement. In the pictures that are in the plan right now, there are no gated area near the garages. Is there, or will not be, or will there be fenced in area around the garages?
So we took your consideration seriously. We talked about it. We talked to a few experts, and we feel that the maintenance and the problems it would create outweigh the benefits.
What type of problems do you foresee?
The problems are the maintenance. We talked about a gate, not just a fence, but also a gate that will be broken every day. And then the residents are going to be calling the mayor saying these developers are not listening to our concerns, and they're absent developers. It's a maintenance nightmare. It's not practical. It's theoretical.
Okay, then if you're going to forego the fence, what type of cameras or security equipment can you monitor the garage area?
That's a good question. And I've been in the management business 17 years. And in fact, the technology as it relates to cameras has exploded. And not only is it better, but it's very cost effective as well. We will have unquestionably state-of-the-art cameras that will be able to monitor on my phone and my partner, who's my cousin Jimmy's phone, because we're local. We live 10 minutes from the site. We grew up there. And like the resident will be buried within 20 minutes of the site, just like him. And we also have staff that will have access to the program. Quite frankly, it's very inexpensive and very, very thorough and extremely reliable. Had you asked me a couple of years ago, it would have been a problem, but there's been an absolute explosion in that area. We've put it on our other commercial properties, and it works like a dream.
Commissioner Cohn, if I could just interject one thing, the gates particularly, fences not so much, but gates particularly can be an issue for the North Shore Fire Department. That is an issue the fire department has raised on a number of past projects. So just wanted you to be aware that if there's a gate that might obstruct their entry into that area in a timely fashion, the North Shore Fire Department would have an issue with a gate.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, keep going, Fred.
No, my only other question was, is that security system that monitors, you said it goes to your phone, will it also be established on a hard drive? So in case something happens, that the police have the ability to look at that hard drive?
It will, and that's what we've been using. We've had a couple of accidents. Some have been fatal in our properties, in our commercial properties, and we've been able to get clips and immediately get it over to the police department and cooperate fully.
Thank you.
Sure.
Anything else, Fred?
No.
Okay, Commissioner Seligman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to circle back to the comments of the gentleman who spoke in the hearing. And because this meeting is not just on the record, but is also literally being recorded, offer Mr. Dvorkin the opportunity to make any other assurances that he would like to have on the record about what the property will be like, so that the residents may feel better about what kind of neighbor they're going to be.
I would welcome the opportunity, but I want to make sure it's okay with the mayor.
Yeah, that's fine. Yep, go right ahead.
First of all, I do appreciate all the comments. Take them seriously. Ironically, snow is a huge issue for me because we're dealing with it in our other properties. I haven't had a snow problem in 17 years. We also own property on Port Washington Road, which is the Bank 5-9 building. Ironically, there's a city parking lot at the west, and it's been 15 years where we've had a joint agreement with the city and have never had a snow problem. We just don't have any snow issues. I can't speak, of course, about anybody across the street, but for us, we take it serious. We have experience with snow. We spend an extremely large amount of money. We use the best contractors, and there's never an issue with snow. And if there is, we take care of it. I mean, if the city called and said, hey, you forgot the sidewalks, which has happened, oops, we're not perfect, but in 17 years, we've probably gotten 2 calls on snow. In addition, we will have staff on site. We are local. Again, we're not comparing ourselves to the other developer. In particular, Devo Management Company manages high-end properties. We don't have any issues and have never had an issue in 17 years with any municipality on any management or condition of the property. I view it as a partnership. Even though we're not getting reimbursed and there's no sort of TIF or financial, I still view it as a joint venture. The city's our partner. We take a lot of pride in it, and we're going to be not only adding value and adding increment to the assessed value, but we manage high-end properties that have no maintenance issues. And that's our track record for my partner and myself.
Thank you, Mr. Dworkin. Amanda, do you have any more?
No, that's all. Thank you.
Anyone else in the council room? I don't see any hands going up.
There are no hands up.
All right.
Oh, we've got one.
Commissioner Atwood, go ahead.
Sorry, just one more quick question. Is the existing property, the one closer to Bridgewood Lane, is that managed by, just out of curiosity, is that managed by a local company or a faraway company? Opposite of local. Do you know that, Mayor?
1633 West Bender? The one, okay, the one that is
the one near Speedway.
Yes, that is local to a Milwaukee organization.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So we have had a public hearing. We've closed the public hearing. We've heard from the public. We have a recommendation from staff that our next action would be to recommend to the Plan Commission, recommend by the Plan Commission to the Common Council that the petition to rezone the property from an S1 special institutional district to a PD planned unit development district multifamily residential be granted as requested. And so I'm going to ask, is there a motion to recommend to the Common Council that the Common Council approve the rezoning?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Cohn. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, is that Commissioner Reek?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Is there any further discussion by members of the Plan Commission? All right, I'm going to call for a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no? Okay. Then the motion is approved. This will be recommended then to the Common Council. And Mr. Pamela, I do appreciate your comments. And we are aware, we've gotten many of the same complaints from your neighbors about the other property. And we will make sure that we, maybe it's time I have a talk with the folks at 1633 West Bender. I haven't done that in a while. So, but thank you. This has been approved and will be recommended now to the Common Council, where the Common Council will then have to do the actual rezoning. All right. The next item on the agenda tonight is a Plan Commission site plan review for American Transmission Company. This is for a property located on West Mill Road. Mr. Stubbe, would you like to tell us about your recommendation, please?
Staff recommends that the Plan Commission grant approval for ATC to modify the electric substation facility within the ATC parcel with the requirement of complying with all federal, state, and local reviews, requirements, and regulations, as well as obtaining all required approvals and permits from said agencies and authorities.
All right, thank you. Who is representing ATC this evening?
Hello, I'm Kevin Lynch, and I'm an employee of American Transmission Company.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like me to give a brief overview of the project?
Sure. Do you need to share a screen, or will you just be talking with us?
Yeah, actually, I do need to share a screen. So
Okay.
let's
Staff
see.
can enable that shared screen.
Okay. Okay, can you see my slide?
We can.
Great. So my name is Kevin Lynch. I'm an employee of ATC. With me on the line is Trayton Spencer. Trayton Spencer is the project manager for this project that we're presenting to you tonight. It is the Rangeline Substation project, and let me briefly go over that project with you. Let's just cover, well, I guess first of all, I'm not sure that everybody here knows who American Transmission Company is, so let's cover who we are, give you a little bit about the need for the project, and finally just briefly cover the improvements that we're planning here. So American Transmission Company is a Wisconsin public utility. We've been operating in the state since 2001. We operate over 10,000 miles of high voltage transmission lines, primarily in Wisconsin, but also in the Minnesota, UP of Michigan, and also in Illinois. We do have about 600 electrical substations, and our Rangeline substation is one of those. What American Transmission Company does is we take the energy from the sources, such as solar farms and coal plants, that type of thing, and we get them to the local, we get the energy to the local distribution companies, such as the We Energies of the world. So that's who we are. Let me just cover a little bit about the need for the project. The Rangeline Substation project is an asset renewal and a physical security project. The asset renewal portion of it has us replacing high voltage electrical equipment, which is at the end of its useful life. And our business being down, 1/10 of a percentage of the time isn't acceptable. We have to be operating all the time. So we do routine maintenance on all of our substations. And the second half of the project is improving physical security at the substation site. And by improving physical security, I'm talking about adding cameras, lighting. ATC security personnel will now be able to monitor the site with those cameras. We're also adding a new fence around the perimeter of the substation site, and I will show you some photos of that. And we're also improving the control house structure. And just to go over the major improvements that we're talking about here are replacing the fence. I'll show you a photo of that. We're replacing some of the high voltage electrical equipment at Rangeline. We're also replacing the control house. I will show you a drawing and a photo of our control house at the site. And we are expanding the ATC electrical substation yard. We have to do that in order to add that new control house. And as I mentioned earlier, we also are adding those security cameras and the new lighting. So let me show you some aerials that may be helpful in understanding where this is and what exactly we're doing. So this is the ATC's Rangeline substation parcel. We do own this parcel. We Energies deeded this parcel to us back in 2001. At the time they deeded us this parcel, they also deeded us an easement for their parcel, which is right here. It gets us to West Mill Road, or County Highway S. So we access our substation site by easement, and let me show you a blow up of this area right here so you can better understand what's happening there. So this is that blow up. This is the We Energies parcel, and this is where we have the access rights. This is our substation site, of course. We're going to be accessing for construction down this corridor here. Interesting piece is that this corridor is also used for the Oak Leaf Trail, which we're very sensitive to. Our site is divided from the Oak Leaf Trail by a chain link fence that straddles the trail here. And we have been in contact with the Public Works Director regarding how we're going to access the substation site for construction. We're going to make sure that we work with you folks as the best we can to make sure that there's no problems as a part of our construction, and certainly anything that we break or damage as a part of this project will be cleaned up at the end. And moving on to a little bit more description. So this is the expansion area for the substation site. This is the expansion of the substation yard. This is where the new control house will go. Other than that, it's not really changing. This next photo is going to be a little bit busy, but let me just cover the highlights with you. So this is the substation yard. We're going to be putting cameras in all the corners to improve security. And again, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to be putting this new control house in the southeastern corner, and we're going to be removing the existing control house. This is the control house, a typical of it. As you can see, within the control house is just high voltage electrical equipment. The control house is just visited very infrequently, just for routine maintenance, but not very often at all. There is just electrical equipment in there. There's nobody staying there all the time. And since this is one of the major improvements, I did want to show you a photo of the new fence that's going to surround the substation site. This is a no cut, no climb fence. So it does have the wire mesh instead of the normal chain link. And the fence that's going to be at Range Channel looks very, very similar to this. And finally, this is a picture of the planned control house. And the control house has HVAC equipment to keep the equipment inside at the appropriate temperatures. This is a hardened, it's called a level 8 structure. So it does, would withstand a tornado up to a category 3, as well as any ballistic projectiles that come its way. So it's a very sound building. And that is one of the reasons why we saw a need to replace the control house. And that is pretty much it. Could I answer any questions from anybody on this project?
Thank you, Mr. Lynch. So I'm going to start with the first question, and that is that we have, I'm assuming you're going to be doing this once the weather breaks. So at that point, the Oak Leaf Trail is pretty heavily populated. Like even on weekdays, you have at least several people an hour, and on the weekends you have dozens, sometimes 100 or more people an hour that use the Oak Leaf Trail, especially now that the bike trail has been fixed over by Johnson Controls, so it is open again. Will there be times that any parts of the trail might need to be closed while your equipment accesses, or do you have some means of getting your equipment there without having to drive on the trail?
Yeah, unfortunately, as a part of that new control house coming in, the plan is to deliver that by a flatbed trailer with a semi. So it is a very large load, and we will actually need to take out that fence that I showed you earlier. Am I still sharing, or did I?
You're not sharing, no.
Oh, okay. So I won't be able to show you that. But so I showed you that fence earlier that split that corridor. So we are going to need to remove that fence temporarily to accommodate that large load. And we are very sensitive to the fact that we're going to be doing the delivery of the control house in the month of June. And we're planning a site visit there on January 10th. And we're going to cover the details about how long it's going to take us to get in there and out of there and minimize the amount of time that we're hoping to close down the Oak Leaf Trail. We have been in contact with Milwaukee County. We haven't worked out all the details with them, but we have finally made contact with them, and we will, we'll work out with them whatever is necessary to close the trail. It's hard for me to speculate on how many days that will be, but my best guess would be a few days, but we'll need to go back with construction and see how long it'll take. I think part of the problem is that we have to take out the fence, and then we're going to have to put in the fence. So there's a fair amount of upfront work that needs to take place, and then some back end work as well. But we will certainly try to minimize any time that we need to close the Oak Leaf Trail.
Okay, and I would just my encouragement to you would be to try and do it during weekdays, and so that the trail is not closed at all on weekends, particularly because the weekends are really, really busy, especially if you get a nice sunny Saturday. You could sit there for 10 minutes and see 50 or 60 bikes come by. So during the week you'll have less traffic, but still, yeah, I do understand that the need to have for public safety reasons to close portions of the trail, but that's also a connector portion of the trail. That trail goes all the way up to Manitowoc. So you do have a lot of people that come through there, especially on weekends.
Sure. And our work typically does take place Monday through Friday.
Yeah, if it carried over a weekend, you weren't working on a weekend, but you had the trail closed, that could present a problem.
Sure.
Okay. All right. I see Commissioner Seligman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for that presentation. I always relish the opportunity to learn a little bit more about how infrastructure works in our community. And my question is, I think I know the answer to this, but please, I want to ask it. Does this have any effect on the relationship with the power outages that Glendale has experienced recently, including the multi-day outage, I think last year? Thank you.
Yeah, this specific project, I mean, it is a asset renewal project, so we are replacing equipment, so there's less chance that outages will occur, right? That's the purpose of keeping the equipment up to date and replacing it when it's at the end of its useful life. But as far as any direct relationship to the problem that you experienced, I would say that there is none.
Thank you. That's all.
All right. Commissioner Cohn.
Between the time you take off old equipment and put new equipment in, will there be any effect on electrical usage for any residents in Glendale?
No, there will not. We make sure as a part of our work that we do not interrupt the use of electricity in the area. That just won't happen as a part of our work on the high voltage facilities.
Thank you.
Anyone in the council chambers?
There's no one.
Okay.
Question, I'm sorry.
Is there a question? Yeah, Commissioner Atwood, go ahead.
Just a comment. I just want to back up what the mayor is saying that, I think it would just be really unfortunate if the trail had to be closed over a weekend in June for any reason that could be avoided. I'll just say that. Thank you.
Yes, this is Trayton Spencer, project manager for this. Just to reiterate the delivery timeline, we're looking at about mid-June. So we have 6/15 as a delivery date, which is on a Wednesday. So the plan, and we're gonna discuss this with our contractor more next week, but the plan would be to try to do all the prep work on Monday, Tuesday, prep it for the delivery taking place on a Wednesday, and then restore everything Thursday, Friday, so that we could have it back open by Friday at noon if possible.
That was the answer I think we were looking for. So thank you.
So that's the plan, right?
Okay.
There's always weather conditions and that type of stuff that can happen, but
sure,
certainly that's the plan that we would be working toward.
Commissioner Reek.
Commissioner Reek, go ahead.
Thank you. I have a question about the weight of the trailers and the bike trail. Like, is there, and I just don't know a lot about this, but the weight of the trucks coming in with all the equipment, is there something that we need to worry about as far as that trail getting damaged with all of that equipment coming in?
Mayor Kennedy, I can answer that. If there is any damage to the trail, that's something they have to work out with Milwaukee County. They'll need to obtain right-of-way permits and permission to utilize the trail. So any damage, Milwaukee County would ensure that that is corrected.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions from members of the Plan Commission? Not seeing any hands in the chamber. All right. So we have a recommendation from staff that we grant approval for ATC to modify the electric substation facility. Can I have a motion then to approve the staff recommendation, please?
So moved.
Okay, who made the motion in the chamber?
Bailey.
Commissioner Bailey, seconded by Commissioner Cohn. Is there any further discussion? Okay, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Thank you. All right, our next plan, that concludes our business for tonight. Our next Plan Commission meeting will be on Tuesday, February the 1st at 6 p.m. And with no, I guess, are there any announcements from the city administrator?
I just want to introduce Interim City Administrator Daryl Hoffland. He is in the chambers sitting next to Deputy Clerk Treasurer Nicole Maurer. Daryl has been working with me for a few weeks now, and he will be at your next Plan Commission. If you have questions, feel free to call the same number that I had, 228-1714, and he'll be able to assist you.
Thank you. Commissioner Cohn, you raised your hand a moment ago. Did you have a question?
That's one of them was who the gentleman was sitting at the desk. The second thing is to thank Rachel for all the help she's given me over the years. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you very much. I will say out of all of my meetings, Plan Commission has always been my favorite. And that I'm not just saying that, it's always been the most interesting. Plan Commission members are always very inquisitive and concerned about what's coming to their community. I really, truly love the Plan Commission.
Isn't that sweet?
Thank you, Commissioner Safstrom. Commissioner Seligman, you have your hand up.
Thank you. I also wanted to thank Rachel, but that's been done very nicely, so I won't say anything else. I wanted to ask if the new interim city administrator's email address could be circulated to the members of the Plan Commission so that if we have queries that come up, we can email him directly rather than figure out how to make a phone call, since we've forgotten how to make phone calls in the 21st century.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you. And my apologies to Daryl for, I don't know why I'm sitting here and the man sitting there, I thought that was the chief of police because he is in all of our common council meetings. So I didn't even realize that he was going to be in the meeting tonight. So I'm glad you're here, Daryl. Thank you. All right. No other announcements? Okay. No. And then I would entertain a motion then to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Cohn. Is there a second?
So moved.
Okay, seconded by Commissioner Atwood. All those in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
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 Opposed? We stand adjourned.